Caitlin Clark. A lot of discussion about Caitlin Clark deciding to acknowledge her white privilege in a Time magazine article, and then doubling down on it by saying that she was going to speak her truth and recognizing all of the great talents that have come before her in the WNBA, many of whom are black women and all this stuff. I think it's a mess. And I think Caitlin Clark bending the knee to the WNBA is the latest example of a league being unable to handle a incredible gift that they got. They effectively have burned down the WNBA because Caitlin Clark is straight and white, and this is a league that is primarily black and lesbian. And my theory here is woke sports has lost. I don't know how many of you saw the story from Semaphore, but I'll get into that in a moment, with Kamala Harris's team acknowledging that they had major issues in the world of sports. But it felt like looking back to several years ago. And I think that's because black women are the last vestige of identity politics in America today. What do I mean by that? If you look at the 2024 presidential election, every racial group moved towards Donald Trump. He increased his vote in all 50 states and in cities because a lot of black, white, Asian, and Hispanic voters all moved in Trump's direction, particularly black men. Black women were the only group that continues to vote 90% one way and single digits the other way. Every other ethnic group is now up for grabs. In other words, you see an Asian person, you got no idea how they might have voted in the presidential race. You see a Hispanic person, you got no idea. You see a black man, 25% Trump, which is a pretty massive change. So you kind of have no idea. Certainly if you see a white person, I mean, just look at somebody, you have no idea how they voted. I think that's what should happen. Black women, though, identity politics continues to be a thing. And I think that's what Caitlin Clark is dealing with in the WNBA. And I asked you guys, hey, will her comments impact whether or not you watch the WNBA? And 70% of you said they would. And I know a lot of you, this is one thing I was wrong on. I didn't think Caitlin Clark would have a huge audience in the WNBA. I knew she had a big audience at Iowa. I thought college basketball, women's college basketball has always done well. WNBA's never made $1 in 25 years. So I thought that we would end up in a situation where the WNBA would struggle. I was wrong. Caitlin Clark brought in a whole new audience. A lot of those viewers, white men, white women. All different races, but a lot of them white men, white women, and I think a lot of them Trump voters. And so the fact that Caitlin Clark bent the knee, I think Ben Shapiro called it a land acknowledgement, basically from Caitlin Clark. It felt very 2018. Whoever advised her, I think it was an awful decision. But I think it speaks to the WNBA's inability to handle success. Suddenly people care about the overall league, and they have completely lit the league on fire. They have destroyed the golden child. They have the golden goose. They have plucked the feathers and tossed it into the bond pit and the bonfire as well. It's just a unmitigated disaster. And so I look at this, and to me, if Caitlin Clark wants to acknowledge anybody, she should be acknowledging the NBA, which is the only reason the WNBA has existed for the past 25 years, because it's never made a profit. Let me ask you this. How many businesses in America still exist that haven't made money in 25 years? I would submit to you the WNBA might be the only one. And so if you wanted to be grateful for anybody, it should be for the NBA for subsidizing a money-losing business. Instead, Caitlin Clark bends the knee to the black lesbian leadership of the WNBA And in the process, I think has hurt her brand, and I think has also hurt the WNBA. And I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen a talented athlete. The owner of the Washington Mystics was upset because Caitlin Clark was on the cover of Time magazine as the athlete of the year and said, why couldn't the WNBA, every player, have been on the cover of a magazine? That's not really how it works. I've never heard anybody in any other league be this upset over someone that has arrived in a league and created an entirely new business. A rising tide has been lifting all boats. They should be in love with Caitlin Clark. Instead, I really believe this. Because Caitlin Clark is straight and because she's white, the WNBA would rather have a black lesbian-dominated league that nobody watches than a league with multiple races and multiple sexualities that suddenly everybody cares about. And I can't think of a male equivalent. When Tiger Woods came into the PGA, and I think Tiger Woods is probably the best example, he brought a whole new audience, and everybody by and large was ecstatic. Now, there were a couple of blips in the Tiger Woods era, but by and large, everybody in golf was like, this is incredible. We're going to have a much bigger audience than we ever had before. Tiger Woods is bringing a whole new audience. He's bringing a more diverse audience into golf. And I think golf is continuing to benefit from Tiger Woods because way more minorities now care about golf than ever did before. A lot of people went out and played golf that never would have played before because of Tiger Woods. What are they doing that they aren't able to figure out a way to embrace Caitlin Clark in the WNBA? It's just maybe the most colossal failure to take advantage of an incredible new business opportunity that I've ever seen in the world of sports. They got gifted Tiger Woods, the WNBA did, because I think it's fair to say that Caitlin Clark is the Tiger Woods of women's basketball right now, the Tiger Woods of the WNBA. And instead of embracing that gift and recognizing that everybody was going to make way more money, they tore her down. WNBA had a choice. They could rise to Caitlin Clark's level and take advantage of all of the new audience that they had and recognize that everybody was going to benefit, or they could drag her down to their level. And it feels to me like they're dragging Caitlin Clark down to their level. Nobody cared before. Now they're doing it again. We'll see if this is a Bud Light moment for Caitlin Clark where she's really lit herself on fire like Bud Light did. We'll see going forward.